you are allowed to be soft.
Yes.
You're allowed to be sensitive, to be curious, to ask questions, to be afraid, right?
To cry.
We have to create spaces where they also feel safe from a young age. And I'm glad you even bring that up, because in the book, I reverse the masculine character I give to Tandi, Neo's sister. So Neo's Invisible Blanket is my picture book. It is my third book, but my first picture book. So much younger audience, right?
Today is such an honor to be graced with the presence of this phenomenal lady. She's South Africa's award-winning actress and South Africa's children's book author, Mrs. Salamina Mosese. How are you?
Thank you for having me. It is such an honor. I am good. I think today feels like an important day.
It is.
So I'm so glad our conversation is happening today.
I know. We are marking a very important day in history today.
Yes. I think, the topic of GBV is a very emotive one. But what I want to focus on, I think, when we were doing the lie down, I went to the protest with my daughters and it felt very solemn. But then straight afterwards, people started singing and humming and then ululating. And I was like, oh man, there is something so special about South African people. And I know at the moment it just feels so insurmountable, the problems that we have. The issues we're discussing, they are big, they are, heartbreaking. It's all of it. But also there's victory.
Yes.
Right? So in the celebration, there's also power. Seeing all of us come together and have like just a common goal. God. For me, it's so inspiring.
It was such a win.
Yeah.
I can say the whole continent stopped.
Oof. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Right?
It stopped. And when you wake up in the morning, I ordered an Uber at 6 a.m. and the road was just different. I look at everybody who's walking in black and I'm like, what?
Solidarity, unity,
what
power.
A shift.
Big shift.
Thank you guys for everybody that was involved today and just making this statement and saying that women matter.
Yeah. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
When I know there's been a lot, this is not even the topic today, but we have to talk about it because it is so important. I was a boy mom for a long time before I could have the girls. And I remember the shift, the energy right now, it felt like even the COVID times when things feel uncertain. And that very same year, I think we had come from the Uyinene, unfortunate.
Yeah.
I can't even call it unfortunate.
Yeah. Tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same year I found out that I was pregnant with girls. And it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I sat down during my pregnancy, the very early months of being confined to my house. We have to stay on lockdown.
Yes.
How do we change? Even if in the smallest way, we contribute a little bit of change. And that's when my foundation was born. But everybody's just focusing on the girls, girls this. And I said, I think it's important for us also to put emphasis on raising boys that are mindful, boys that are intentional, boys that are respectful. From little, we teach our children to be respectful of boys, our boy children, because that's where the problem starts.
Yeah.
That's where the problem starts. These boys grow up to be husbands, fathers. They never taught, most of them are exposed to a lot of violence.
Yeah.
They're exposed to very minimal or very little love at home, affection.
Yeah.
Not to make an excuse, but for me it was just like, well, what if we turn the light and shift on the boy child and teach them very early that, your sister and your cousin and your neighbor, every girl in the neighborhood, your girlfriend, you ask for permission, you ask for consent for every little thing. And yeah.
And also that you are allowed to be soft.
Yes.
You're allowed to be sensitive, to be curious, to ask questions, to be afraid, right? To cry. We have to create spaces where they also feel safe from a young age. And I'm glad you even bring that up, because in the book, I reverse the masculine character I give to Thandi, Neo's sister. So Neo's Invisible Blanket is my picture book. It is my third book, but my first picture book. So much younger audience, right? But what I really wanted to do is to say, older sister, strong and brave. Neo, little brother, looks up to Thandi, his older sister. She's the one who represents emotional intelligence to him. And by the end of the book, he feels empowered. But you know, that instruction, that mentoring, that looking up to someone, it came from, he was looking up to his older sister. It is the boy who's afraid. It is the boy who doesn't feel confident in himself. And I'm playing with all of these things. It's deliberate, right? So I am a girl mom. I have 2 daughters, but I'm an auntie. And I spend a lot of time with my nephews. And I had so many conflicting I think I always say this to everybody. All of us have more than one book in us, because we all have different perspectives, different lived experiences, so much richness to pull from, right? So yes, the first 2 books were inspired by my eldest. And by the time I got to this book, it was inspired by my youngest daughter. She's 5 now, Tato. But I wanted it to also be inspired by my journey walking with my nephews, because I realized that I'd been speaking into their lives for so long. And actually, my nephew's name is Neo. Yes, my brother's son, one of my brother's sons. And he was always, Auntie, can I do this? Auntie, do you think I can? Auntie, and I was like, wow, what a privilege it is to be an aunt who can speak power to this boy. And I must do it consciously. Being very careful not to minimize, his doubts, his, the insecurities. And, sometimes we force this, no, just be strong, on young boy children. But I think it's important that we also allow for them to find their voice. And create spaces where it's safe for them to feel like they don't have to have it all figured out because society says, Melo, be strong, Society.
And the pressure. We'll get to that, because this season on Life Lately, we are unbecoming what society tells us.
Oh, I love that.
We are unbecoming all those things. And I'm sure in your life, you've had moments where you were like, no, this is not working for me. This is who Salamina is. But tell me about the day and that moment, that special spark that came to birthing this idea.
Look, I think storytelling has been in my life for many, many years. When I came into the industry, on Soul Buddies, it was edutainment, right? And that show just really taught me the importance of storytelling, but for impact, for narrative shift. And that's just, I would say that's my motto in life. It's let's change the narrative. Let's tell our stories in our voice, in our way. And for me, the writing journey for Salamina really starts when she becomes a mom. And in my searching for books for my daughter, who at the time was struggling with her self-identity, loving her blackness, her kinky hair, her bigger bums, when it was athletics, the other kids would laugh at all the little black girls who were starting to blossom and come into their own. They used to call themselves the brownies, her and her group of friends. I
love it.
Yes. So I always used to say, what did the brownies talk about today? And it was in those conversations where I realized, yes, there's a lot of entertainment, but is there a lot of entertainment that is skewed to our children, that is fun and beautiful and attractive? And then Frozen was released, and then Elsa happened to the world, and then all little brown girls all over the world wanted to have all long white hair. We were buying wigs and dresses and singing Let It Go. And I thought, okay, yes, we celebrate their childish ways, their, fantasies, all those fun things, right? But we remind them that there isn't just one way to be beautiful, right? And that also just starts with us celebrating the ordinary in our lives. So my first book, Disaster at Gogo's Plaza, was really centered in it's a very specific community. It's Diepkloof, it's Soweto, it's a spaza shop, it's run by Gogo. And then one of the characters is Dumi, my daughter. And then inspired by her nieces and nephews, then, I added a few characters. But really what I was saying there is, this is our world. Your world is magic. We don't need fantasy. Sometimes the magic is just here. And you create that magic yourself. And then I followed that up with Cook-Off at Gogo's Plaza, where I'm celebrating South African cuisine, South African customs and traditions and cultures. The book actually climaxes on Heritage Day. And that's a chapter book, right? So both books are chapter books. And actually Cook-Off is Book of the Year this year. It's best children's book.
Let's clap, guys.
Yay. It's best children's book, and it's a Book of the Year overall, according to the SA Book Awards. And then this Noah's Invisible Blanket for me is such a special story because it's also the first time that I was able to translate my book into different languages. And with that, now I'm targeting an even younger audience. That's foundational.
Yes.
I loved our conversation just before camera started rolling, where you were telling me about your twins and how you want them to read these beautiful books in isiZulu.
Yeah.
I'm the same, right? What I try and do, so I'll buy the English book and then I'll find whatever translation, right? I'm Betty.
Okay.
It's not easy to find Betty books. So I actually fought for this one to be translated into Betty because I was like, I have to do it for Limpopo and my Betty peeps.
We got y'all.
But it's also in isiZulu, it's in Xhosa, and then the English and the Afrikaans. The publishers will always say and fight for those because those are the ones that sell.
Yes.
And really what it does for us as authors who want to help parents find fun books for the kids. We have to pull them in, guys. We're competing with Disney and Pixar and, right? So we have to start to create beautiful characters that our children will celebrate. And that's really what this journey is for me.
I can't wait to get my hands on that one. I am so happy it comes in isiZulu, you guys, because even when my children were little, I struggle so much. I would even post on my social media, guys, advice, where can I get a Zulu book, for this and that. It's such an amazing thing that you did and fought for that. And we are so happy.
Yeah.
Got Christmas ideas, Christmas gift idea, guys. We need to be intentional and give our children educational tools, not just the dolls. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but when you page through this book, it's so full of color. It's so full of just ideas and giving our children a lot of stimulation, and the brain works at the same time. But also just finding entertainment and just knowing who they are, finding their identity.
And strong messaging. So with Noah's Invisible Blanket, can I read the back? Please. Yes.
Thank you.
Let's entice them a bit. Noah loves adventures, but sometimes he feels a little scared. His sister Tandi is strong and brave, and she has a clever plan to make Noah feel safe. She gives him a special blanket. It's an invisible blanket. And it works. He's not even afraid of the tallest tree in the garden anymore. But will the invisible blanket help when Noah has to go to a new school and participate in the swimming gala? This is an inspiring story about being brave and believing in yourself. So for me, I think the theme is really the reason I wanted the blanket to be invisible is because I think I've always been fascinated by how children use imagination in order to process big things, big ideas, or big emotions. And I think being afraid, not feeling brave, second guessing yourself, these are things that even as adults, we still struggle with. You know, I like to make a joke whenever I'm doing a reading for young kids. I get onto the stage and I go, I'll be back. And then I come back and I put on my invisible blanket and then suddenly I feel more brave, right? So the first time I read the book to my daughter, the next morning she wakes me up, Mommy, I've got on my invisible blanket, but I need your help. I need you to also put yours on. I'm like, why? What's going on? There's a spider in the kitchen. Oh. And then I was like, okay, so now Mommy has to put her money where her mouth is. Okay. So I was like, okay, putting on my invisible blanket. Let's go find out what the spider is about, you know. And I kept saying to her, where's your dad? And she said, no, but we've got our invisible blankets. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is important. But you know, I think I play with these themes. But the blanket is a different thing for every child. I think, you know, growing up, some kids had teddy bears, some do have a blankie. My eldest had a pacifier. It went with her everywhere.
Now imagine you forget this thing. So
it
helps that this one,
they were tears multiple times.
Visible.
You can't even buy a new one.
No.
Like they want that one.
Yeah, well.
This one is invisible. So I was like, I'm helping the parents.
You were smart with this one. The creativity. Amazing.
Thank you.
In years to come now, your daughters are, you know, carrying this book with pride. And what is the message that you want to give to children and carry on in the future? On Neo's invisible blanket, the idea that you had behind, for parents even, you know, what is the message out there for them to take away from Neo's invisible blanket? You
know, for me, one thing that I really am loving about the book space is understanding that books don't date. I think when I entered this new chapter in my journey in the industry, I approached it the same way we approach music, the same way we approach films, and things date. With books, they, you know, I keep running into different parents who are like, my daughter read Disaster and now her little brother is reading. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the thing with books, right? When I was a kid, I was reading Roald Dahl. My daughter read Roald Dahl. You know, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It will still be around for years to come. And I think that's what this also means to me. It's me contributing to the storytelling legacy in our country. I'm putting out there products for our children that I hope these characters will become anecdotal. Eventually, they become metaphors. You know, in the same way, my daughter's like, I have to put on my invisible blanket and I know I'll be brave. She needs it now, but eventually she'll be able to do that internally, where it's just like, I'm stepping up. Yeah. I remember what Mom was saying. Yes. So with this book, I'm just saying to all of us, do it scared. Yeah. You don't have to feel ready. You sometimes it's like the preparation will come, right? Those feelings of bravery sometimes arrive right in the moment. I think with anything new that's worth pursuing, it's worth discovering new parts of yourself as well. And sometimes you do that not necessarily knowing how it's going to pan out. You know,
can you imagine this being your daughter telling your grandchild the story one day and just reading it and telling her that when I was scared, Mom and I used to put on the
invisible blanket. Yeah.
Now that's a legacy that you've left not just in your own household, but in other households out there. Because like you say, it's dated. I remember recently also my niece, I'm very close with my niece and my nephew, and she was like, I was telling her, we were driving in the car and picked her up from Pietermaritzburg, and I said to her, I'm so sad the author of the books that I used to read when I was a child passed away. And she didn't have any idea what I was talking about. And I said, you've never read Your Sweet Valley? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, no. I said, I grew up, my dad used to go to the library every Friday because I look forward to the next book and the next book. And so because she didn't have no idea what I was talking about, I went on and I tried to find every collection of every book that I read. And I was so happy that Take a Lot has a few. And I realized that books don't get expired.
No.
In fact, they mean more. For me, it was such an emotional thing when I held it in my hands again and I said, this is my childhood.
Yes. I remember
So therefore,
getting my daughter into even the Chronicles of Narnia. Or, you know, one of the most influential authors for me, and then seeing how she influenced my daughter as well. I remember one of the first picture books that I bought for my child was Mpumi's Magic Beads, Lebohang Masongo.
Oh, I was
Masango. And then after reading this book, it was like her favorite book for the whole year, right? Then December, we always had this thing where she keeps her hair natural the whole year. We just plait with natural hair. And then December is her treat. She gets braids. And then she got there and she said she wants Mpumi's beads.
Aww.
And I was like, this is what it's about. It's about shifting even the way they consider beauty, the way they consider bravery, the way they think of their communities, their role models, all of that. That's really what storytelling is about. And that's how we shift narratives. And I think for me, the most important thing is for kids everywhere to know that they are worthy of being celebrated, of being on the cover of books. Now, you know, we laugh. My daughter and I always laugh because Subi Bosa is an incredible illustrator, but it is so bizarre. My nephew literally looks like this. He's going through that phase, you know, where they lose teeth and then it becomes the gap. And when I showed him this and I said, my boy, do you see? He looks like you. He said, Auntie, why didn't you fix my teeth? I was like, I love your teeth the way they are.
How is it working with an illustrator? This is the first picture book, right? So it's the first time you're working with an illustrator.
So my other books have illustrations, but it's like, because it's different, so it's not full color.
Okay.
So with chapter books, the illustrations are black and white. So this felt different. And, you know, when I actually embarked on my writing journey, my vision board, the first illustrator that I wanted to work with was Subi.
Stop.
And it only happened now in book 3. So this is a proper, like, I fangirled for myself when I saw the book for the first time. Yeah.
What a legacy you're leaving, Salamina. I'm so proud to sit next to you right now.
Thank you.
See the fire in your eyes and just see how much you dedicated and put so much into this project, not just for your home, not just for your children, but for us. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to getting the book for my own children, and I'm sure everybody else is also trying to get their hands on. Take a lot, guys. Take a lot. Go get a copy. I'm so happy that I got to experience this with you today.
Thank you.
But now we have to talk about Salamina, the girl.
Yes.
Because, you know, right now, it was not even in my notes, but when we're talking about our childhood and just the memories and just putting reading and stories into our lives and our everyday lives and our, you know, childhood. And I'm just like, I'm wondering what Salamina grew up reading.
Yeah.
Who was Salamina, the girl? Growing up, what did you read?
Wow, Salamina spent hours and hours in the library. So I was really a very self-conscious young girl. I want to say shy, but I think it was more reserved. And I was always thinking, I always had ideas, but I didn't trust my voice. And I think I was searching for a long time. And then I like to say TV happened to me. It wasn't my choice, you know, and I think that's the thing with being a child. I think sometimes adults decide for you. So it took a while for me to really decide for myself whether the industry really is where I want to be. But I also think there's a lot of grace, right? I think over the years I've had to come to that realization of, okay, God chose me to be here. I wonder what he wanted me to achieve. What did he want to say with me as a vessel in the industry? So for me, the industry has always been about understanding self as well. I grew up in Limpopo, and then we moved to Soweto with my paternal grandmother, and then moved in with my parents. And then we were in, you know, those old suburbs, but we were among the first few brown families to move into these neighborhoods. So it was really Salamina and her siblings almost walking in different realities. In Limpopo, it's rural, and then Soweto, it's urban, and it's faster and it's cooler, and and then the suburbs, where you're almost you're trying to also find your new voice, and then your real voice, because I feel like us millennials were always doing this switch where in the schools we were twanging, and then,
Go back home.
I mean, I would take 4 taxis just to get home. There's no time to be twanging when you're texting. You're counting change. You're being sworn at, you're navigating life in Joburg, So yeah, I think Salamina I was a conscientious student. I've always been a bookworm. I like to say I was nerdy, and I love that. I think it made me also seek out new worlds. And yeah, I was also a child who loved to travel just because I like new experiences. And I think then, fast forward to Salamina, 27 years in the industry. It's funny, a couple of weeks ago, I was at the 30-year celebration of Soul City. And that was my first job in the industry. So this year is 27 years of me having walked in this industry. And I love that in my 27th year, the author part of me is taking, the front seat, because it's also, I think, a softer side of me.
Yeah.
It's mommy Sal.
Yes.
It's auntie Sal.
Yes.
I love it when the kids are like, Auntie Salamina, yes, my baby. And they're like, I really love your books.
Aww.
And the moms are always like, don't you know Auntie from TV? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yes, I love it. You love me because of my books. This is awesome. It's like a completely new journey. And it feels fun. And I think I approached it from a very almost activist advocacy. I think reading is important, guys. Our literacy numbers, our children are not reading for understanding. So we need to find different ways to entice them. Yeah. With my first couple of books, I was so encouraged. A lot of moms said, this is the first time I've ever gotten my son to sit down and read a book. And I was like, no, don't say that. Please, can your son send me a video? And then they send me a video and they're like, Auntie, I like that part. And I'm like, oh, and then
really
post
engaged.
these are fun for me. So I always ask the moms, just DM me. It helps me. It fills my bucket. It just says to me, you're in the right direction. The kids are connecting with the stories. Let's keep doing it. We're getting them off the gadgets into the pages. I'm like, yes.
They connect
as a
with the
mom.
characters.
Yes.
Yeah. This is amazing. What a legacy, Salamina. I'm so happy that we got to have you to come here. Guys, how's the support at home? I mean, with hubby, I know you guys are both busy.
Yes.
How do you guys give each other the support? How do you choose the projects? How do you pour on one another? Because this is time consuming. Yeah. I know this project is a lot.
Yeah, you must. It's the funniest thing. My daughter always says, yo, if people put a camera in this house, daddy is so militant when mommy is writing. And it's so funny because I write in my room because I need it to be my peaceful space. Every now and then I'll go to a library just for different, it's like sometimes I feel like being in the presence of other authors on the shelves helps me connect with that part of me. But most of my writing happens at home. So it really does take a village. And obviously I have a 5-year-old, I have a teenager. They need me in different ways.
Yeah.
I'm very close to both of them. And together and separate, right? So it's so funny when I'm writing, I listen to their dad, don't disturb mommy. And I can hear them in the passage. And the one is saying, no, I just want to ask her a question. And he's like, no, guys, mommy needs at least an hour. Let's give her, so I mean, the support is incredible. But also he's written a song for every single book.
No way.
I have released. I love it for myself. I use them as marketing tools. The kids absolutely love them. Every now and then I bully him to come on the road with me.
Bully.
Yes, because I don't pay him. That's why operative word is bully. And then Uncle Hausa performs for the kids,
man.
and they lose their minds. They find it so curious because it's like, we see this uncle on TV. There he is singing kids' songs to us. So we have 3 songs with the 3 books. And it's been fun, man. I think it's also helped him, his music side is such a big part of him, right? But he hasn't released in years. I think we're almost on 10 years that he hasn't been releasing any music. So the only songs he's releasing are my children's book songs, which is so cool. It's like bragging rights.
Right. When God does his thing.
Yeah.
This is amazing, guys. I love you guys. I love you guys together when you work on projects. I love everything you've put together. And I think it's such a nice thing for your children to witness love, to witness support in the home. It's important for our girl children to see that because, we always, as women, we always make excuses and say, oh, but my partner is such a good husband. Sorry, he's a good father, but not a good husband. You can't be one or. You have to have your children witness the whole package, see you become. You cannot not love and support the mother of your children.
Yes.
And say that, but I am a good father. So big ups to men that actually pull the weight, that come through, that show up, that support, that love their daughter, that love their wives and sisters and aunt. We have to also, give that love to them and say thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, Hausa. Thank you for the songs.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support.
Yes. I think in the best relationships, what we all have to realize is sometimes you are leading, other times you're cheerleading, right? And I love that we've created in our home a space where we know how to do both for each other. I'm an ambitious woman. He made me like this. And I think one of the greatest gifts he's given me is he hasn't ever tried to dim my light. In fact, when I'm the one who's like, oh, I don't think I can do it, he's always like, do you know who you are? And then, he likes to say, I used to have posters of you on my bedroom wall as a teenager. That's who you are. I'm like, that's my girl. And then I'm like, I can do it. I'm that girl,
Put on your invisible blanket.
And then I put on my invisible blanket, right? So, yeah, I think it is important for us to celebrate, each other and cheer each other on. I think, especially in our industry, which is so tricky. But yeah, there's no space for competition, not amongst friends and definitely not as couples.
Yes.
We're all feeding into each other and it's
Stronger
important.
together.
Yeah, always.
Stronger together, guys. I wish I could sit the whole time, but I am going to order my copy, my isiZulu copy, 3 copies. You guys do the same. You will not regret this. This book is beautiful from the inside. Just the pictures alone. I haven't even read the book, but I'm so proud of you, my sis. And just one last message before we go. We are Unbecoming on Life Lately this season. Share with us your one moment where you've had to unbecome what society tells us we are, who we are. What is that one thing that you look back and you're just like, I am very intentional on this. I'm very intentional on who Salamina is.
Yeah. I think because I've spent so much of my life in the industry, one of my least favorite things is how this industry forces us to compete with each other. So the unbecoming for me, I think this probably started maybe 10 years into the industry. And that's a long time where I flipped the switch and I said, no. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm a collaborator. I'm a team player and I'm a cheerleader. For all women, all men, all creatives, what we do is hard. So for me, really, the journey has been in forcing myself to be so authentic in celebrating people. We didn't sleep because we were watching Melissa on stage representing South Africa at Miss Universe. And I have been like, Ngati, I'm paid post because I have been singing her praises, Bokang's praises. I love Nandi Madida. There's so many. Sis, your podcast, the growth. So for me, the unbecoming is, as Black people, as creatives, as practitioners in this industry, we are building each other up. None of this happy when people fail, happy when things don't work out. Nah, we're moving away from that. We are becoming cheerleaders.
Amen.
We are unbecoming competitors.
Amen. Thank you, guys. You heard, young girls. You got the message from Auntie Sal.
Auntie Sal. Thank you.
Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode because I really did. I didn't even know about the cookout book. I'm getting that one.
Yes.
But I learned so much today, and just to relay the message again, we are stronger together. Let's support one another, especially us women. There's a crisis in our country. You know, we are always looking down on one another. Let's pull each other up. Let's be there for one another. Let's say, sis, how can I help? You know, what do you need?
Yeah.
I promise you, our country, our society is going to be
Better for it.
much better for it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm so honored. Literally, I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching this week's episode. Don't forget to get your copy of Neo's Invisible Blanket. Christmas gift ideas, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to comment on the section down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.